Good morning, year one. Welcome to your English lesson. Let's get started. Okay, it's the 4th of March 2021, and today we're learning to write for a purpose. So these are the 2 days, Thursday and Friday, where we put all of our learning from the last 2 weeks together, and we're going to be writing our model text of the letter from the crayons. Before we get started, we're going to begin with a revision starter. So inside the box, there is a sentence, and it's your job to use your year one sounds and your year one spellings to help you correct this sentence. So let's read it together. Do you have a crayon I can borrow? So just like I have been doing before, your spelling problems are in green, just like we would with our green pen at school. And it's your job to pause the video and correct the sentence. You're going to write it correctly using the correct spellings. All right, welcome back. I'm going to get my purple pen. So if you can get a pen that's a different color from the pen you've been using. Okay, so do. One good thing about do is that it does have a capital D and it is the start of a sentence, but we know do only has one O. U is not spelled with a double O digraph. It's Y-O-U. Do you have? We're missing one letter on have, which is letter E. Do you have a crayon I? Now that's a lovely trigraph I, but we know I as a tricky word is a capital I. And finally, can. We know that can is spelled with a C. Do you have a crayon I can borrow? Fantastic. And we love that they have their punctuation already. Lovely. So all of those spellings are phase 3 and phase 4 spellings. So we should be able to do them independently. If we can't do them independently yet, you will need a little bit of practice with an adult at home, even when we come back to school, because that's something we learned in first term. So if you're still having trouble with it, you'll need to work with an adult at home on those words that I gave you, sent out to your parents. All right, so let's have a look at letters. We've been talking about the features of letters for the last few weeks. And what I'd like you to do is pause the video and see if you can think of as many different features of a letter or parts of a letter that you can. Now, if you have, and you should have, if you go get your work, your English work from last week, and you will have all of your lovely writing with your letter, you can have a look and see. That might be able to help you. So pause the video and have a go at discussing what features do letters include. All right, welcome back. So let's have some ideas. So we know a letter begins with an address, which is where the letter's from. After the address, we need to know when it was written. So we're looking for the date. We want to know where the letter's going or who it's for. So we need a greeting, which is how we say hello. After the greeting, we need to know why the writer is writing the letter. Their reason, and we call that starts with a P, purpose. Good memory. We also want whoever's reading our letter to write us back. So we have to have a think, what would make them write us back? Oh, I know, maybe if we ask them some questions. And finally, just like we say hello, we need to say goodbye, and that is a closing. Well done. How many of those were you able to remember? Fantastic. All right, today we're going to be starting our letter, but we're only writing about half of it because we want to take our time and make sure we follow all the year one success criteria. So today we will need to include the address, the date, the greeting, and the purpose or the reason for writing our letter. So this would be the slide that you're going to want to look at when you are doing your own writing. All right, and I've got some lovely crayon paper here. So I'm going to get started with the address. So I'm remembering that the address is who was writing the letter. So the crayons, and they were writing it from a place. Let me get this. I need to make this nice and small. Let's go back here and make it really smaller. I'm going to have lots of trouble, aren't I? So the crayons, and they're writing it from, do you remember where they're writing it from? The Palmer Academy. And which town is the Palmer Academy, and where do we live? Reading. Fantastic. And which country do we live in? That's right, good memory from geography. England. There we go. So the crayons, writing from the Palmer Academy in Reading, England. And do you see how each part of that address I put on a new line? So for this part of the text, if you need a little bit of help, you can certainly use this from me because we haven't done much letter writing. And the really tricky bit, which you wouldn't know, but you can use from me, is the postcode, which is RG27PP. So there we go. We have a nice address. Let's go back and look at what we need next. The date. All right, we can do the date. Now, when I write a letter, you'll notice when we looked at our example, our model text, that they didn't write on every single line. So I'm going to skip this next line when I write my date. And I'm going to use today's date. So it's the 4th of March, 2021. Fantastic. So let's go back. So I've got my address and I've got my date. Now I'm going to have a look at my greeting, which is how I say hello. So just like before, I'm going to skip another line. Now, how can I say hello? Who am I writing to? Dear, in the letter they wrote, Dear Mrs. Madison. So the letter was to me, but we can also write the letter to the year ones. So dear year ones. Now, what do you notice about the letters that I've chosen to use? That's right, they're all capital letters. Do you have any idea why we might have used all capital letters on every word of our greeting? That's right. So the dear is the start of our sentence, and year ones is the name of our year group. And names need capital letters. Good thinking. So let's see, we've got our greeting. Now we need the purpose. We need to think of the reason why the crayons are writing. And again, we skip a line before we start writing. But I'm a good writer, so I know that I need to say my sentence out loud. So remember, I'm the crayons. I'm the crayons writing the letter. So we are writing because how are they feeling at school? We did lots of work on this. Oh, that's right, they were upset. We are writing because we are very upset at school. Full stop. Lovely. Let me read that sentence over. We are writing because, that's a good explaining conjunction. Helps me to give a reason. We are writing because we are very upset at school, and ending with a full stop. Now tomorrow, we're going to be doing more writing. We're going to be giving more reasons to explain why we're upset. The crayons are upset. We're going to be asking some questions, and we're going to be writing our closing. But for today, you've got lots of bits that you need to do. So the bit that I've circled in purple is the only bit that I would like you to copy, or you may copy from my writing. But everything else, I want you to be able to use your sounds and your ideas to write it yourself. So I'm going to get rid of those, but you may use the address. So you've got 4 important things that you need to get started on writing. So get yourself a piece of paper that you can write on. And this, I've also saved this lovely template on on Teams. So if you'd like to use it, or you do have a printer, you're more than welcome to print it out. And that will be your writing for today. Remember, if you need to take breaks, you can take some breaks. And then tomorrow we're going to finish off our letter. And I cannot wait to see them. So I will leave you to do that today. Remember to take your time. You'll do a wonderful job. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.